numbers for the scripture passage. We're going to look at 3 callings of God, and the theme is going to be the theme of Sunday school, following. So we're going to look at how these men followed God, or didn't follow him, however the case may be. So Exodus chapter 3, 1 through 4 is our starting point, and we're going to go to Moses in the burning bush. So the page numbers are there in your bulletin, Exodus chapter 3, page 45, and the Pew Bible there should have the same version that I printed here. Exodus 3, verses 1 through 4. Now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. And he led the flock to the far side of the desert and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. And there the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within the bush. And Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, I will go over to see the strange sight, why the bush does not burn up. And when the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush, Moses, Moses. And Moses said, here I am. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit from a rabbi by the name of Klossman, who is very familiar with the historical place that this took place, so that we have a little better understanding of what this is all about. What is the real miracle here in this passage that I grew up thinking that was? The burning bush, right? No, Klossman says bushes were burning all the time in the Midian desert. There was a bramble, and it's kind of like what you guys took out of the corner here. All that bramble that you guys removed from the corner here that was cluttering up the lot would be like the Midianite desert and the bramble that was there. And some of the bramble there would have twigs and limbs that would be like 1.5 inches thick. And it would be quite tall. They might be even as tall as this ceiling here. And because some of this bramble produced a type of gel within it that was similar to pine tar. You can think of it as pine tar. You know how you can get a fire going with pine tar. Pine burns really readily. And they would use this on the desert then for their fire at night, because it would get quite cool in the evening, though it was hot during the day. And then here's what they did, and I never knew this, so sometimes it's good to read the history of it. And they still kind of do this today. They would move their sheep about as the herdsmen would move their sheep. And then what would happen is they would have the fire going, and then you'd leave the fire burning. Why? Because some other herdsman the next night might use the embers from the fire and get his start. So it was just common to have burning bushes out there in the desert. So as Moses is tending his sheep, he's seeing burning bushes. Now, what's the miracle, though, of this scene? Because this is an ordinary scene, the burning bush. And he doesn't say in the text, he said, oh, there's a burning bush over there. Wow, I got to go investigate. Why does he have to investigate? Remember what he said?
It's not burning up.
Why? So now picture with me that Moses is looking at the sheep, and he's in a wide open wilderness area, so he's seeing the desert for miles and miles and miles and miles. And he's all saying, it's kind of weird, that fire over there just keeps burning. Oh, okay, well. And then about half hour later, it's still burning. Should be burning down here pretty soon. Maybe I'll use that for my campfire tonight, but it's still flaming up. An hour later. And as Klossman says in his book, how many times did Moses look over there before he said, I have to go to investigate? Because that is really weird. So if you read the text carefully, the text gives it away. It wasn't the burning bush. I need to go and investigate as to why this bush is burning and it's not burning up. And God was in the bush. And God spoke to him out of the bush. Now, here's the point of this. God will often call you and call me out of the ordinary into the extraordinary. That's the message of that text. That you and I are going through life in a very regular fashion. And we kind of just keep doing the same thing, the kind of routine day after day after day. And every now and then, God pops in somebody into your life that is in need, or that you can reach out to. And in your ordinary day, do you just brush it aside? Because Moses could have said, it's hot. I don't really care. So what? So Janet and I go through Black Creek on our way to Appleton when we see the kids. And we've got this ice cream place here. There's a BP store there, and we stop there for ice cream. And we stop for ice cream every time. And the lady who works in there said, I see you in here quite often. Yeah, we come down to Appleton quite often. I don't want to engage with her on anything because I just want to get my ice cream, go to the car, and get going. Someone interrupts your day at work. Oh, this is just too high maintenance for me. I don't want to ask the question because then, we'll get him started. If you get him started, he's going to go on and on and on about his divorce and about his hurts and his pains and everything. I don't want to do it. God brings you through ordinary situations every day and gives you an opportunity to respond to the extraordinary. And that's his calling. If you're following him, you will be looking for that and responding to that, just like Moses. Now then, we have to go to Jonah now, because we have to see this, how this all fits together. Jonah chapter 1, verses 1 through 3. Remember the story of Jonah now. And the word of the Lord came to Jonah. Remember, the word of the Lord came out of the burning bush to Moses. Now the word of the Lord came to Jonah, son of Amittai. Jonah chapter 1, 1 through 3. Go to that great city Nineveh and preach against it, because its wickedness has come up before me. But Jonah ran away from the Lord and headed the opposite direction toward Tarshish. And he went down to Joppa, where he found a ship bound for port. And after paying the fare, he went aboard and sailed to Tarshish to flee from the Lord. I don't want to. I don't want to. God gives you that nudge in your heart. Wow, she shared that prayer request last Sunday. What am I going to do with that? There's something that's just not right about this person at work, and what am I going to do with that? And the Lord gives you a clear nudge and says, you know what? Why don't you step out of your comfort zone and out of your tranquility and dare to have lunch with that person at work, or dare to do something that's going to reach out and maybe touch somebody's life. And we say, I don't have the time. Too much work. Got enough going on in my own life. And that was Jonah. I don't want to go to Nineveh. I don't want to give a rip about the Ninevites. So he heads to Joppa, and he gets on a boat, he heads to Tarshish, which is as far away as you can go. And at times when God gives us that nudge in our life, and we can respond to the needs of other people, we just simply say, no. Now what happened to Jonah because he said no? Now, remember the story of the whale? They threw him overboard because, the whole ship was going down. God created this gigantic storm, and then God created this gigantic fish, and swallowed him up, and he gets coughed up on some beach someplace, and then God says, okay, Jonah, you ready to go? Yeah, I think I got to change my heart. Okay? I've been there, people. I've had times in my busyness in my day where I just simply didn't want to respond. That I felt God was asking me to do something. And the consequences there are kind of like Jonah's not, I never got swallowed by a fish, but it's still there. And so when we're following Jesus, first of all, we have to be willing to get outside that ordinary life and get into the extraordinary part of our journey enough to be involved with people, because this world desperately needs that. And you know, people, we're in a broken world right now. It's a broken world. And there's a lot of hatred and anger and strife that's going on. And one of my good friends lives right in the midst of Minneapolis and was a part of that whole thing that exploded. How can you reach out and touch the lives of people that are really desperately hurting? Well, Jonah said, wait a minute, the Ninevites are not even good people. They butchered our people. And if you look at the history, you don't even want to read it, what they did. But God came to Jonah and he said, you know what? God loves the Ninevites too. No. Yes, he does. And Jonah said, but you know what, Lord? My hatred for them is so deep that I really don't care. And I'm not going. And God had changed his mind. Now, look what Jonah says in that classic passage. Jonah chapter 4, 1 through 3. It should be that second passage there. Jonah's anger and the Lord's compassion. But Jonah was greatly displeased and became angry. And he prayed to the Lord, O Lord, is this not what I said when I was still at home? That is why I was so quick to flee to Tarshish. I knew that you are a gracious and compassionate God, slow to anger and abounding in love, a God who relents from sending calamity. Now, Lord, take away my life, for it's better for me to die than to live. In other words, what Jonah is saying, God, you know, we sing that little children's song, Jesus loves me, this I know. You know, for the Bible tells me through. Jesus loves all of us. But there are times in our life when we are so filled with bitterness and anger and unresolved stuff that when God says, you know, I want you to reach out across to this people. I want you to reach into the life of this person and you say, no. I really don't care that they're hurting. I really don't care that they're suffering. They deserve it. And God says, what do you deserve? Because my grace and my mercy came to you. Don't remind me of that, God. Just you do your job and I'll do mine. And you know what? Jonah went to Nineveh, and you know what he did? He preached. And he didn't put his energy into it, and they repented. Wow. So I just want to remind you that there's times in following Jesus where you're not going to want to do it. It's not like this wonderful little mission you get to do. It's going to be times when you say, let me. Now, we go to one of my favorite stories, David. 1 Samuel chapter 17. 1 Samuel chapter 17. Starting in verse 16. And for 40 days the Philistine came forward, that's Goliath we're talking about here, and took his stand, morning and evening. Now Jesse said to David his son, verse 17, take for your brothers an ephah of this parched grain and these 10 loaves, and carry them quickly to the camp of your brothers. Also take these 10 cheeses to the commander of their thousands, and see if your brothers are well, and bring some token from them. Now Saul and they and all the men of Israel were in the valley of Elah, fighting with the Philistines. And David rose up early in the morning and left the sheep with the sheepkeeper, and took the provisions that his father had given, and did just as Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the encampment as the host was coming out to the battle line, shouting the war cry. And Israel and the Philistines drew up for battle, army against army. And David left the things in charge of the keeper of the baggage, and ran to the ranks and went to greet his brothers. As he talked with them, behold, the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, came out of the ranks of the Philistine and spoke the same words as before, and David heard him. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him and were much afraid. And the men of Israel said, "Have you seen this man who has come up? Surely he has come up to defy Israel. And the king will enrich the man who kills him with great riches, and will give him his daughter and make his father's house free in Israel." In other words, no taxes. And David said to the men who stood by him, "What shall be done to the man who kills the Philistine and takes away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?" And the people answered him in the same way, "So shall it be done to the man who kills him." Now Eliab, his oldest brother, heard when he spoke to the men, and Eliab's anger was kindled against David, and he said, "What have you come down here for? And with whom have you left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know your presumptions and the evil that's in your heart, for you have come down here just to see the battle." And David said, "What have I done now? Was it not but a word?" And he turned away from him toward another and spoke the same way, and the people answered him again as before. And when the words that David spoke were heard, they repeated them before Saul and sent for him. And David said to Saul, "Let no man's heart fail because of him. Your servant will go and fight this Philistine." Now, here's kind of how I was thinking the other day as we said in Sunday school too, that Janet and I left Sioux Falls and came to this little place called Hickory, and it's really a romantic place, to be. It's a beautiful place. But it's probably not in a lot of people's minds, and especially thinking of the pastors and staff that I left in church, it's probably not the cutting edge of ministry. Okay? Yeah, you can smile, that's okay. And yet the other day, when I was going through this passage, I was thinking, but this is just like God. He doesn't take churches that are numbering 5,000 in worship to do his great things always. He sometimes takes the shepherd boy with the slingshot. It's just like God to take Gideon with a band of few men than to take a mass army. And it's just like God to take each one of us in the midst of our weaknesses and our insecurities and our doubts and our fears and do something tremendous. David was at the battle scene for one reason, and I said it a few weeks ago, to bring a sack lunch to his brothers and to get a report on what's going on. And how did it turn out that he's the hero of the day? And as you go through life faithfully to God, and as you are just simply walking through the ordinary life like all the other servants in the Bible, be open to the possibility that God can do and might want to do great things. And most of us have always told ourselves that we're not big enough, we're not strong enough, we're not young enough, we're not old enough. We can't speak well enough, we don't have the gifts. I've heard it all in church through the years. When did God need all that? Now here's the question I want to leave for you today. If we were doing small groups and breaking up for small groups, this is my small group question that would be for you. Does God prepare us and then send us into service? Okay, that's what we all think. That's the American view of go to college, get your education, get prepared, and then go get the job. But the Bible tends to go this differently. He calls you into service and then prepares you. Think about that. Look at all the servants that God has called. He met Paul on the Damascus Road, blinded him, and then sat him down to help educate him. Ever. So don't ever use that to me, okay? Don't ever say, well, Pastor, I would like to maybe think about the elder board or the deacon board, but I'm not quite prepared. David wasn't prepared either. In fact, you know the story because he went to Saul, and Saul said, you got to put the armor on. And David put the armor on, he couldn't move because he was much more able to fight the way he was used to than putting the armor on. So his brothers probably were up above looking down over it. Oh, this guy is a dead man. I want you to know, too, that David doesn't have the confidence. He just says, I can't believe this guy is insulting the armies of the living God. He was ready to die. Now, I want you to know something about the story. It doesn't say that David defeated Goliath because he was such a good shot. It just said that God told him to sling the stone, and God directed it. God told Noah to build the ark, and he would seal it. Later on in Genesis, it says God sealed the ark. It had all kinds of leaks. God doesn't need your perfection. And God doesn't need your qualifications. He just needs a servant that's willing. That's it. If you ever want to do great things for God, all you need to be is willing. It's not about talent level. And when we get that, a little place like Hickory can do wonderful things through him who directs us, not through us. I wish I had vocal musical talent. Todd and I stood up here and we sing. And I don't know if you're singing, Todd. I don't even know what I'm singing, but we're singing. We're doing our best. Okay? That's all he says. That's all he says to do. And so as we look at following Jesus this morning, the one thing I want to bring across to us is this. Ordinary people can do extraordinary things because he is the extraordinary factor. And if you take that by faith, watch out. I have no idea what could happen. Because the Bible tells us over and over and over again, that's the story that he took. Ordinary people. Took a 99-year-old woman to give birth. Now, don't let that freak you out anymore. That's the way it is. Sarah was 99 years old. He knew anything. Let's pray. Lord God, we thank you that you are a God of promise. You're a God that intensely loves us. Who said, I'm not willing that any should perish, all should come to redemption. You want to call us into your service. You want us to be conquerors. You don't want us to be beat down by this world and beat down by life. And so if anyone is in that situation, Lord, give us that sense of hope and purpose this day. And let us ask throughout this week, Lord, what do you desire for me to do? We might face a Goliath, we might, but we might also just need to talk to a co-worker that we work beside who desperately needs a friend. Give us the courage to do it. And bless us through that process through Christ our Lord. Amen.